What I've seen a lot of people do, especially in ads on Facebook, is send people, me specifically, to a landing page that is exactly like this. Now, this is from an actual ad I clicked on today on Facebook, and the purpose of showing you this is to talk about the benefits and disadvantages of doing things with a squeeze page and with your own email marketing system. Now, this is actually for a webinar also, which if you're going to do one of these, I would definitely do one for a webinar. I had the most success doing these kinds of things with the webinar. That said, very little return compared to doing these through a third party. So when you're doing it on your own, here are some of the advantages you have. You've got your own template. You can put whatever you want on here, assuming it's approvable by whatever ad platform you're going to use. And you can have a focus page where you give people exactly what they need to know and nothing else. You can then put some kind of a opt-in and get their exact information right here. So it's a focused approach, and it allows you to freestyle, do whatever you want. You can get people's emails using a sign-up sheet here and do whatever you want with them using any kind of email marketing software or even just direct emails one-on-one. That's the advantage of doing this approach, and it also is fairly simple to set up. There's a lot of problems with doing this approach though, and you'll see how doing email marketing the way I do gets around these problems. So when you see something like this, I don't know who this guy is. You may know who he is. Other people may know. I don't know who this guy is. So instantly the trust issue is critical. Why trust? Well, first of all, if I'm going to give my email out right here, I better have a pretty high level of trust if I'm actually going to give a meaningful one. What happens a lot of times is people that are more experienced online tend to give their worst email here, their email that gets bombarded with all the promo codes and that you're not likely to reach with genuine enthusiasm. Now, this is for a webinar, so you've got a good shot at using a webinar page to actually get genuine interest. However, if this was just a straight up opt-in page, I've seen a lot of just opt-in pages, then you get no value if they don't check the email address on a regular note. So the problem with this strategy is that you don't tend to have a very good trust factor just because you're unknown. So I'll show you a little bit about that real quick. I'll show you some Alexa statistics. So let's take a look at my Alexa dashboard. My dashboard has my certified site metrics on it. And you'll note over here I've worked really hard at my web traffic. I recently have got towards the top 1 million websites in the world, which is really good. The problem is, if you'll look at my bounce rate's 79%, even though I have a pretty good website format that most people seem to like. So I'll show you the basic format. So here's my website. This is my basic format. And then I've got blog posts. I've got tons of awesome, helpful information. And people usually come in on a blog post, something like this, so that it's professional looking, it's clean, it's got all my Udemy courses, it's got tons of helpful information on it, it's got a footer, it's got contact information, it has social media accounts. It's pretty professional looking. So that's when you're working with your own website, bounce rate tends to be a problem, and it's not a function of your website, it's a function of people not knowing who you are. Now let's check the bounce rate on Udemy.com. If you look on Udemy, they have a 40% bounce rate. Go back to my bounce rate, 79%. How much do you think this page's bounce rate is? When I ran something like this, the bounce rate was between 80 and 98%. This page is one of the only pages I've actually not bounced from. And so to make sure you know what bounce means you basically go on the site, look around real quick, and close the tab out or go back. So Google counts that as a negative user experience usually, where you don't actually go do anything with the website, but you just leave. The only reason I've kept this one up is because I saw it as a good case study I could use. The thing is, the bounce rate means it's very difficult to get people to stick around because there's nothing else on this website besides the squeeze page. Even on my website, there at least is a lot of other things you can do, and that helps lower the bounce rate. So Udemy my website has a 79% bounce rate. That means 4 out of 5 people just come real quick and leave. This probably has a 9 out of 10 bounce rate. But look at these websites. Udemy, 40% bounce rate. Facebook, 34% bounce rate. Wouldn't you rather be trying to interact with people through websites that have a lower bounce rate? So if you're going to send traffic, I prefer now to send traffic straight to a Udemy course because the website bounce rate is much lower. I don't want my users to leave immediately, and I want them to stick around. And the same thing on Facebook. You don't want to send people directly to your Facebook page usually, but on Facebook, you can get a hold of people with a message, so they're more likely to trust and they're more likely to take a look at your message in Facebook than they are on something like this. I've clicked on 50 to 100 of these in the last few months. I just like to see what other people are doing. I've never submitted my email once. That's the problem with doing pages like this. It also only takes one time to go through this process and not like it, and you'll probably never do it again. Whereas at least if you have your own website, you can try a different flavor. So that's another huge disadvantage to doing email marketing this way. And finally, assuming this works really good, you still have to go in and then manage all of your emails with these people. Now, if you're using a webinar series like this guy is, he should have something like GoToWebinar or whoever managing the emails as he collects them to do this webinar. After that, though, he's on his own to manage them, usually with something like MailChimp or any kind of autoresponder you use. The problem is every time someone reports an email spam, it only takes 1 out of 1,000 people coming to this page to really not like this guy to start reporting his emails as spam, and all of a sudden he doesn't even understand why his open rate's going down. It's because his emails are getting stuck in the spam folder. That's real easy to happen when you're an independent, when you're just one person out there. But how likely do you think it is Udemy's emails are going to get stuck in the spam folder? Or that Facebook's emails, well, they might actually get stuck in the spam folder. But the thing is, if you're using some kind of third-party software and website like Udemy or like Facebook or all kinds of other ideas I'll give you, if you're using something like that to reach the inbox, you're much more likely to consistently be able to get the inbox. It only takes one person hating on this guy, and it's certainly not going to be me. If anything, I'm promoting his lead page here. It only takes one person to hate on this guy in order to start getting his email marketing effectiveness dropping way down. And so the thing is, you always have to be building your email addresses just to stay even. If you're doing something on like Udemy or on Facebook or Patreon, whatever, you can keep a relatively stable list of students, and you don't always have to be fighting against huge attrition from people just having too many emails that they're swamped with. So that's the ups and downs of using a page like this. Udemy is very restrictive in terms of what you can use their email marketing for, but the trust issues and the ongoing engagement make it a lot better bet. I would rather have my 30,000 students on Udemy than to have a list of 30,000 emails. And that's assuming it was just as easy to build both of them. If you have to build emails this way, you're likely going to pay $1 or $2 each to do it, depending on how effectively you get your sign-up process down and how big your audience is. On Udemy, I've actually made $1 or $2 for every student I've got on Udemy. So that's a $50,000+ difference building up an email list, doing it through something like Udemy, versus doing it through a lead page like this. So this guy's lead page may be crushing it for him. I don't know. You may be able to crush it with a lead page like this. I don't know. What I do know is I'm able to crush it with Udemy. It's really easy to build up a great audience and do email marketing with Udemy. And in my personal experience, it's really hard to do it this way. So thank you for watching this, and I hope this has been useful for you in figuring out a good strategy to do your email marketing.